Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Sandy. Thank you very much for joining us from Germany. So we have kind of an eclectic crowd, a wannabe Australian, a Japanese. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hey, I've got my own speakers on, so I got to turn it off. For joining us from Germany. That's okay. We're going to turn this off. So we have kind of an eclectic crowd, a wannabe Australian, a Japanese. And again, we're still live. Sorry about the echo. I'm sure you actually got an echo. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to chop that off at the end. So I'm going to actually kick off.
No problem. Good morning.
So I'll restart. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Sandy and Elizabeth. Sandy from Germany. I want to thank you guys for joining us. So today's brainchild is from Audrie. Audrie thought it would be kind of cool to get to know some of the development team and actually what is it that they do in their off hours, what makes them tick, and how does actually the energy or the battery of this team. So yes. I actually, as I was telling Mary A, I actually don't know a lot about what your vision was.
Yes.
So I am actually a very overpriced AV guy today.
Okay, I'll help you out.
So with that, I'm going to hand the microphone to you, yes, ladies, and you're going to carry the show.
Yes. I'm really excited about today. This is the camera, right? I'm really excited about today because I'm going to introduce you to one of our developers, which I have to say that I'm very appreciative for our development team because they're always working hard to give you guys the best of the best stuff. So I want to give Maria a chance to meet you, talk about how she got to doing this and kind of some new ideas for using templates. So we're going to actually share with you a lot of good tips that we have gotten from the hard work of a development team. So let me get started by introducing Mary A. And Mary A, tell them a little bit about yourself, like how you got to Microsoft. What got you interested in doing development in the first place?
Sure. So hello, everyone. My name is Mari. I'm fairly new to Microsoft. I'm a recent college grad. And I actually only started coding about 4 years ago. So it's been a long journey since then.
Wow, 4 years.
Yeah. So I guess what first got me interested in coding was probably, I started off as a mechanical engineer my freshman year.
Okay.
And the first coding project I ever got, it was a simple loop, so code that repeated thousands and thousands of times. And what was really impressive about it was a mathematical model that created a fern. So just with 20 lines of code and matrices and complex mathematical formulas, we were able to create a picture of a fern. And so
that's impressive.
Yeah, it completely blew my mind that just such a small amount of code could materialize an idea that mathematicians had worked on so quickly and so powerfully.
I can see your passion in this. And I think of myself trying to do that, and it's like, whoa, no, I can't do that. Yeah. So I have such respect for people that have the patience to figure out what are those 20 lines of code that are needed.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing at PowerApps every day. So how did you get from creating ferns to Microsoft? What got that going on?
Right. So I kind of ended up here by chance a little bit.
Okay.
I got to my interview, and what really inspired me to join was I met my manager's manager right now.
Okay.
And just during our interview, he just clearly had such a passion and such a vision for both web development, for engineering, but then also the people, which was just really inspiring to see. And just within that 30-minute interview, I knew that
I had to. You wanted to be.
Yeah, I had to go work for him.
That's really impressive. And are you satisfied with that decision? Like now that you're here, are you like really glad you're here, or are you tired?
Yeah.
What? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it had a lot of surprises that were good. One of them being that, so I came here mostly because I believed in the leadership. And what I've really learned is that the leadership listens to customers, and the word customer obsessed comes up all the time.
Yes.
And what's really cool about that from a developer's point of view is that what comes out is that we're not limited to just the Microsoft scope. If you look at all of our connectors, you see
that's all right. The third-party Trello, Slack,
right.
Yeah.
It's not solely bucketing ourselves into our customers are only going to use Microsoft. It's really all about a customer is going to want to unite all of these different products that they already use.
Yes.
And so I think seeing that customer obsession turn into action as a product has been really cool for me.
Awesome. And you know, I agree with that. You know, I'm pretty new to Microsoft myself, much newer than you even. And I actually love the fact that Microsoft is very open to helping people connect to things that aren't necessarily Microsoft driven. That's one of my favorite things about PowerApps is that we do have all those different connectors, which increases the scope of what we're capable of doing in PowerApps.
Right.
So I want to thank Microsoft for that, and also thank you for being part of that and being so passionate about it, you know. So, you know, I graduated from college in '82, right? So a while back. Yeah, you're a little more recent.
Yeah.
If you could use PowerApps in that setting, because I know how passionate you are about education and about science, you've mentioned to me in the past, what kind of apps might an education organization want to use PowerApps for?
Yeah, absolutely. So one cool thing about being a fresh college grad is I still have friends in university, and one of my favorite moments of when I went back to visit a couple friends, I have a friend who's an economics major, and I was trying to explain to him what I do, and you know, he kind of lit up for a second. He says, "Wait, you're making an app that makes apps? I have that idea. You're doing it."
Yes.
So it was really exciting to see that, just like the possibility that he had in mind, you know, coming into action through Microsoft. Going back to your actual question, about specific apps that I would want to make.
Yeah.
There were so many times that there was actually a friend and I were asked by a professor to build a phone app once in college. And this was me as a sophomore, completely fresh to coding. And it took us forever.
Oh, no.
And she paid us hundreds of dollars.
Seriously?
Yeah, to make this app.
What did it do?
It was actually really cool. It was, so her child had a mental disability.
Okay.
And so she had trouble picking out her clothes in the morning. And figuring out what would and wouldn't match. So of course, her mom, being an engineering professor, said, okay, we're going to engineer a solution. And the solution that they came up with was an app to help her match her clothes in the morning.
Wow.
And so that was really an incredible experience of kind of getting to see that, you know, this professor had university resources. She had college students at her disposal to take as much time as they needed on this idea that her daughter had made. And just working for PowerApps, I can really see that, you know, if for moms out there who aren't as, you know, privileged to be working in a university place, they could still do the same for their kids.
I think that's the biggest difference I see with modern education and science over when I was in school. Is there's a big focus on using technology to help people in their everyday life. Right? How do you help someone have a better lifestyle, a better quality of life? Through technology. So I'm pretty impressed that that app was even thought of and that you guys were able to do it, even though you didn't use PowerApps. But I bet you if you used PowerApps, it would have taken less time and less and cost less, probably.
I completely agree.
All right. So would you mind showing us one of the apps that you built? And so I'm going to try and share a screen here. I'm running through an install loop of some kind. So let me try a different method here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess a little bit of the background on this is, so at Microsoft, there's a program, a teaching program called TEALS. Once affiliated with Microsoft, now it's its own organization. But so I go to a classroom, I help tutor high school kids in introduction to computer science. So I was talking with the teacher one day, and it's kind of funny because as a software engineer, you think that, I think maybe 10 years ago, the most common question would be, oh, can you help me fix my computer? But nowadays it's really, oh, I have this great startup idea, or I have this great app idea. Will you help me build it? And so lo and behold, the teacher did the same thing to me and said, oh, I have this great idea for an app. And so we got talking a little more, and Audrie here was kind enough to help me out. And so we're actually going to be showing you one of those apps that just based off of conversations with teachers, what he thought would be really helpful to have. And again, this is just one possibility. I know there were a couple other ideas thrown out there with connectors and how to bring all of a teacher's eclectic resources into one centralized app. And then this one specifically is about the intersection of science and education.
Oh, wow, the two. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So one common problem is that teachers will have one storage room for materials because materials are expensive.
Yeah.
You know, many teachers are teaching the same chemistry courses, they have to share them.
Yeah.
But coordinating all of that between teachers
Yeah.
is a really difficult problem.
Yeah.
So there's a
You
lot
forget what's out and who has what.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
how many materials you really have on stock, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of miscommunication that goes on.
And I think that is typical in many environments. So I think your scenario works in education. It actually works anywhere, right? And the fun thing that we got to do with this is we got to see that, you know what, we can actually build this app in minutes. I'm talking like minutes, less than an hour, because we're leveraging something that the developers contributed to. And I don't know, can I get someone in the chat to kind of say whether they've ever used any of the PowerApp templates before? Anybody ever use PowerApp templates?
Shakar Parikh says he's used them before.
Good, thank you, Shakar. And anybody else use templates? Anybody else use templates too? I know Shakar's on our team, so I'm glad to see that. Anybody else use templates ever? Because here's the thing about templates. You don't need to know PowerApps to use our templates.
Elizabeth says they're templates.
Yes, there are. So let me try and share a screen now. So now I'm going to figure out how to share a screen.
On the left-hand side, there should be a green arrow that points to the right.
Yeah, green arrow, screen share. Oh, good. Okay, this looks good. This is good. Now I'm going to switch over to back up for us.
I just don't know what they're going to look.
I'll speak loudly, or she'll
We
speak
lost
louder.
volume, so Shakar's saying he's lost volume. Okay, they should hear us now, and maybe might be able to see us too.
I do see a little on your screen. I actually see a little microphone X'd out. Oh, here it is. Can you hear me now?
No, but that's too much hearing me.
Can you hear me now?
All right, you want my microphone?
Yeah, maybe that will help. Can people hear me now? Can you hear Mary and I? Okay, good. All right.
Actually, I think they're hearing both. Hopefully they can actually hear and see it. Okay.
Okay, so I'll quickly walk through the app that, oh, awesome. People can hear me. Great. Quickly walk through the app that came directly from a template. And then Audrie, who's better at explaining all this, will kind of walk you guys through how we made this and how quickly it is. So again, for my situation, it was a teacher who needs to coordinate between other teachers, all of the materials that are involved in a chemistry lab.
Mm-hmm.
And so one example here is we can click on chemicals.
Yeah.
And then here we have our list of options of different chemicals. You can see that there's reviews here which aren't as applicable to our current situation, but this is also just to show you that it's really out of the box. If this was applicable to your situation, you could also use that and be really easy. So we're gonna quickly check out, let's go back to, I want equipment. I'm gonna check out the small test tubes. And currently something important to note is that right here we have 4 available test tubes. So I'm gonna go ahead and check it out. And this is exactly what a teacher would do. They could share the app, so each teacher could have this app separately on their phone. And then, let's see, we'll reserve it in Audrey's name. And we're gonna reserve this, kids tend to be a little bit slow in their lab, so let's say for a week, so 5 days. Reserve. All right. So it tells me exactly what 5 days means. And then we actually, if we go back to equipment here, say I'm another teacher, we see here that only 3 are left in stock. And so we're quickly able to find out that you better hurry if you want them.
Yes. And the app will let you do some filtering by, most often reserved. It's really cool if you built this little app and now you're using it, which is going to give you big value from a user perspective, because now they can easily find stuff they need and reserve it when they need it. But also you could plug in your Power BI to the list on SharePoint or the Excel file that is driving this data and kind of get some trends on what's reserved the most, which would help you procure better, right? So that it kind of does a full circle thing. PowerApps gives you that action, that ability to do something, task-oriented, reserve these, schedule the usage of them, know how many are left. Even, if you want to rate the things that your school's offering you, so that they know what you like and what you don't like. There's even, if you look up there at the top, there's that little people icon. If you click on that, it'll show you everybody that has something reserved. The education unit to see what's going on, but not just for today. If I plug Power BI in, now I can look at my trends over the past 3 months. Nobody's reserved this particular textbook. Maybe I don't need to be offering that. Maybe we need to get a better textbook. We learn from structuring our intake this way, and to be able to do it so quickly is just amazing. These icons here for email and phone also will enable me to launch my email, fill in the email address with a subject line and everything. And if I'm on my phone, when I tap that phone icon, I actually call the person. So it takes advantage of the profile properties in your tenant to pick up on email addresses and phone numbers. So really cool app that took, like I said, less than an hour to make. So I kind of want to show you how you would put an app like this together. And anybody in the chat know exactly what template we used? You get 20 points for knowing.
Poor Elizabeth didn't even know there weren't templates.
Oh, no, right? All right, so I pressed new in my PowerApps homepage, and if I press new, I get all these options that I love. I get a create an app in my tenant, right? So I'm in the Microsoft default tenant. But notice at the top there, it's aware of most commonly used data sources, and so it actually helps you.
Sandy says
yes, Sandy, you're right.
Sandy.
Yes, Sandy's one of.
Somebody for the win.
Yes, Sandy's one of our power bloggers. She's really talented with PowerApps, and so I'm not surprised that Sandy knew that. Yeah, her company is really awesome when it comes to PowerApps. And then on the bottom here of this page, you'll notice that there's a section called App Templates, and you actually have 2 choices: the phone layout, or underneath that it says tablet layout. So I'm just going to click on phone layout here, and you notice that, as Sandy was correct in saying, we have an asset checkout app. Now, what's neat about this app that made it good for Mary and I is that I really didn't have to edit anything in the application. What I had to edit was the data that drives the application, and then I let the application. I didn't use a single formula. We didn't configure a single thing. We left it exactly as is, and we changed the data source. So if you notice on the bottom left here, you notice it says OneDrive for Business. The first time you do this, it will ask you where you want to store the Excel file, because this one is driven from Excel. And so you'll make that decision. I've made it before as OneDrive for Business, but you could use Box, you could use anything that holds documents, basically. You could set that as your location for your Excel. And then I just actually press Use. And what it does is it goes and builds this app. And this is the part that we want to thank Mary and her team for, because all of the developers on PowerApps team are working really hard to do a whole bunch of stuff in the back end so that when you guys go to use the app, they've already done half your work for you, right? And that's why I love the developers so much. That's why I wanted you to meet one of them, because I'm always impressed in how much happens while this animation is moving. There are screens being built. There are formulas being set. There's search automatically configured in this. The data source is being uploaded to the place that I selected. It's just amazing to me how much work is happening behind the scenes. And that wasn't done by the magic wand. That was done by the PowerApps developers. So I'm going to show you what happens. So we're going to go behind the scenes here and kind of look at your OneDrive here. I'm going to bring you into my OneDrive. I don't think there's anything too confidential there. I'm going to share screen. Okay, here we go. And in my OneDrive, what it does is it creates a data file. So, and it names it after the application. So this application is called Asset Checkout. So if I do a search for Asset Checkout, you'll notice that PowerApps created a folder there. It created a folder for me for everything I need for this app, right? So I'm opening this folder, and in this folder, you'll notice that I have two things important. I have data images, which is all the images in the file, and I have my data. So if I go into data images, when you do this file, when you do this by default, it has laptop images, it has, computer images. You don't have to use those. You can add your own. I didn't spend a lot of time adding them this time. We did add a couple, and I didn't demonstrate them, but basically you can just upload those new images. If you name them the exact same thing and overwrite the previous ones, then you have nothing to do in the PowerApp. If you change their names, you will have to make sure you put those new names in the data file, and I'll show you that. We're going to go back from that. That folder is just for images, that data images. So you can add as many as you want, and no matter what images you put in there, they're great. They're useful for your app. Now, the data file, and here's where all the magic really occurs. I'm expecting that there's more people in this chat that use Excel than have used the templates. Anybody who has used Excel, say yay, Excel. Okay, maybe we don't have so many. Oh, okay. So I'm going to open this in Excel just to make it easier for me to browse it. I don't want to take this file offline. So whereas I might use open in Excel to open in Excel just because it's easier to manipulate. Thank you, Elizabeth. Good to see someone's using Excel. It's one of my favorite products. Excel is an easy place to work, right? So we're going to dive into what this app is really made up of. Now, if you notice the tabs in the app, you have categories, reviews, products, assets, and filter by. And the whole app is driven by these 5 tabs. I know, Elizabeth, thank you. By these 5 tabs in Excel. And so if I look at the categories tab, which is the first one, what you'll see is those 4 principal categories that we saw on the home page, right? Thank you, Brian. So glad. The 4 tabs that we saw on the home page. And all I did was change it from laptop, computer, desktop to chemicals, textbooks, equipments, and furniture. Now notice the image links are still the same, right? And so I didn't worry about them, but all you'd have to do is change the image link to match chemicals, textbooks, equipment, and furniture, right? Now, what I will give you is don't mess with the ID numbers that you see on the right. They're generated by PowerApps. You don't have to worry about them, but you don't want to edit them. Those are unique identifiers, and so we don't want to edit them. The next thing is you get is the reviews. Now, since Mary A didn't use reviews, I'll skip over that and go straight to products, because categories and products are really the key drivers here. Categories is that home page of what you can select from, and the products tab is what products will be shown for those categories. So if you notice, the category ID is the second column here on the products sheet. So you'd have to make sure that for every product that you want to match the first category, it would have that ID. So for chemicals, I have 2 products, and the category ID for chemicals is C1. So I have chlorine and iodine as my products that are going in that category. And basically, this is really more of an Excel exercise than anything else. It's a matter of kind of looking at the data and figuring out, okay, what do I need to change in this data? If you notice in my G column, which let me see if I can zoom a little bit here. In my G column is where I actually have the image path, right? So remember I said all your images are in that data images folder. So you'll notice the path for all the images are going to .data images / and then it looks for the name that you put in there, right? So again, if you overwrite what was there, you don't have to change anything, but if you don't, you have to go here and change what is the picture that should be shown with this. And any description you want, you would change the descriptions that were written there. Add your own columns to the right. So don't hesitate to add your own columns to the right if you want to use them in the app. It's okay. But what's wonderful is once you get your spreadsheet all corrected, go ahead and run your app because it'll work. You know, and this is where you really didn't have to be a PowerApps genius. You just had to be good at searching and replacing kind of data, you know, and then adding what you want. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a blog post to kind of walk through Marie's app step by step with you so that you can have it. So look out for the blog post on the PowerApps product blog. I'll put that out, if not tomorrow, by Monday. But do you have any questions? Like, are you guys kind of following what's going on here in relationship to this app? Do you have any questions about this particular template app, which is really driven by Excel data? If you don't, I want to show you a couple of more things in PowerApps. Okay, I don't see any questions, so I just want to show you a few things. Now, I will tell you a secret about myself. The way that I learned PowerApps is I reverse engineered the templates, which means I wasn't here at Microsoft. I was home in my home office figuring out PowerApps, and so I would run a template, and then I would go into that template and start digging into all the formulas. And I would figure out, okay, well, how did they do that? What was their method of doing that? One of the things I love about this app is it demonstrates object relations. So you notice that at this is a gallery here. It's showing us our categories, and you'll notice that the gallery is tied to categories. If I look at the data sources for this app, you'll notice in my right panel that every table in Excel is shown here as a data source. That first gallery is connected to the categories table, right? So this is one of the things that I really love. It's very easy for me to link a gallery to a table in Excel because it's easy to see where they relate. So this gallery is only looking at the data in categories, right? And if I try to select something, watch this. If I move this one item, notice that all of them are moving. Can you guys see that? And what's cool about that is that what you learn by looking at this happen, this template situation, the first item of every gallery is your template. And whatever you do in there applies to everything. And you can see that really easily when you're playing around in these pre-built apps. You know, things become very obvious to you. Another thing I liked about using this app is it helped me to see some of the more complex formulas in action and kind of understand how they work. So like, for instance, that second gallery on screen 2 has a fairly complex if statement because the user can use the icon at the top of the screen, and I'll just see if I can roll up and show you that icon. Up here at the very top of the screen is this filter icon, and it enables you to filter the gallery by what is most checked out or what has the highest review. So because of that filter, in that gallery, there's an if-then statement that says if the filter is most checked out by, then do this. But if the filter is by reviews, then do that. And one thing I like to do is basically take this out of PowerApps for a minute, put it in Notepad++ and look at it. And you can learn a lot from studying these things. But here's the thing about this. This is a no stress kind of study because my app is built and the teachers are already using it and I'm not worried, right? So the template helped me get the app out there, but the template is also useful for teaching me new things about how PowerApps works. I don't know if you guys noticed our brand new tree view, but I'm so proud of that. On the left panel now, you can now use the tree view to locate things and to select things. So I happen to be on the category screen, and so if I wanted to select text box 5, I could just tap it in the tree view, and it will select, I need to go back to the category screen, hold on. I'm gonna go back to the category screen, so it's at the top. And then I'm gonna select rectangle 4, for instance, and notice that rectangle 4 selects over there on the right. If I select text box 4, there it is. So this tree view helps me not only easily select things that might have been in the past more difficult to select, but they also enable me to be a little neater, right? I can rename this just by double clicking on it and renaming it. And I don't know if you noticed, but when you rename things in this, your formulas will automatically pick up that rename, so you won't be breaking anything when you rename that way. You can also use the ellipsis to the right of that to copy and paste controls from one place to another. I love search. So if you're really good at naming things, right, which I wasn't in this app because it's just the default, I can get all my text boxes just by searching for text box. If I want all my galleries, I would just search for gallery, and it actually searches for the word I'm typing in the text of the object. So I really love the new view panel. And then on the right here, I don't know if you noticed that we have the new layouts over here on the right side, where we can pick a gallery layout very easily on this side. So lots of new things going on. I hope to be blogging about those soon. Yes, I'm so glad you love it, Sandy, because it's one of my favorite things. Because, you know, I've had situations, I don't know if any of you ever had, where you lost an item because it's got visible property set to false. And so now you're having your alt, and you're doing all this stuff, but now the tree view helps me find it right away.
It's really awesome here too. Thank you, Sandy.
Yeah, thank you, Sandy. We love the feedback. Let us know. And we're cool when you say, I don't like something, right? We understand that you don't always like everything, but we want to make you happy. You are the priority. So 3 key points I want to bring out today. 1, all the work that happens when you're looking at animations in PowerApps, that is work that's saving you time, saving you money, and saving you a learning curve, right? Because our developers like Marie did that for you already. Second thing is, take advantage of these templates. Sometimes it's as simple as editing an Excel file to have a working app tomorrow, right? Such less work, especially when you're getting up to speed with PowerApps. Using the templates helps you produce quickly so that you don't lose your management. You know, hey, look what I made yesterday. And they're like, wow, I'm so glad you could do that while you're still learning, right? So keep working with those templates. They'll help get you, you know, attention while you're learning. And then they teach you a whole bunch of stuff, right? So that's kind of basically what I wanted to point out today. If you want me to kind of go through more of the Excel file, I'll do that. But now I'm open to whatever you'd like to do. If you have questions for Marie, let me know. Yeah.
Your ideas. And
Yeah.
I love that we are able, through PowerApps, to reach a wider audience of that way of programming. Really.
Yes.
And I hope that the switch also.
Yes.
Because that's how we as developers also just learn
Yes. Yes, definitely. I'm going to stop. I wanted to stop screen sharing, but I couldn't quite get that. I think did I get it? Am I stopped screen sharing?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we're going to open this up to questions, and I can do a demo of anything. If you want to look at another template together, we can do that. It's nice to have Maria here to kind of be behind all that code that's running in the back end. I do want to give credit also on the templates. We do have app designers that come in and spend a lot of time making these templates pretty. So all that beauty behind that are designers that come in and yeah.
Your microphone, I'll turn this one on because they're saying they can't hear Marie.
So I've got my,
So they're hearing double right now. If you can just turn your top.
there you go. And now they should be hearing Marie much, much better.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, sorry about that.
Maybe you want to repeat what you just said?
Sure. I guess
The nice thing about being a developer.
Yeah.
The nice thing about being a developer, or really the joy that comes from it, is seeing your ideas come into action, come into being. And so it's really, really cool opportunity as a developer to help a wider community of people to really reach that very quickly. And then I was also saying that as a developer, really where we learn most of our code is by looking at other code. So templates are an amazing example
Mhm.
of how great of a teaching tool that can be
Mhm.
for all of you guys to explore out there, to see what can be done,
Yep.
and then make that your own.
Yep. Yeah, and we have just onboarded an awesome person who is in the thread right now. I don't know if I can call him out, who's going to be helping us even expand our template offerings and do more for you in the area of samples and templates. So you'll be seeing that in the next few months. You'll start to see some improvements because we've actually got someone dedicated to that idea because we know how valuable it is to you.
Oh, that's actually a good comment too.
What,
The reason I didn't know about templates is I start all apps in SharePoint.
So
That's good.
Elizabeth, are you working from like the ribbon, like in SharePoint? You're just doing creative. Yeah, good point. So I guess the best way for you to discover your templates is to use the waffle in Office 365 or in SharePoint Online. You just use the waffle and go PowerApps. That'll bring you to the home page where you'll actually get the new button and you'll be able to see all the templates.
And I highly recommend yet a different tactic and use the universal Windows editor and not the web experience because you're excluded from things like flows if you're actually using the web experience. So make sure, and when Audrie is doing most of her demos, she actually uses the PowerApps player and
Yes.
not the web experience.
Yeah.
So Sandy, you're actually getting left, or sorry, Elizabeth, you're getting left out a lot of different things. So wiring up flows is actually simply not something that you can see in addition to the templates because you're getting started further down the chain. So do yourself a favor if you're running Windows 8 or Windows 10,
Yeah.
download
Listen to him, Elizabeth.
the PowerApps
Yeah.
player and use that for all of your authoring experience.
Yeah, and just to let you know, there's a whole lot of effort going into bringing parity across all of our players. But what gets involved in the browser is how you zoomed in or out. Like I know that a couple of times, because I'm one of those people who can't see really well, so I zoom big and then I can't find certain controls. They're there, it's just that it's very responsive, so it'll remove what will prevent it from showing the
That's
most.
right. And the granularity when you go to do the bumping and the resizing,
Yeah.
just that really isn't a good experience in the web. So
Yeah.
like, I'm going to repeat it a third time. Do yourselves a favor, guys. Don't do your authoring like we did in the web. That's not a great experience. And yes, Elizabeth, there are some pet peeves on starting on SharePoint, again, because you're starting down the channel or down the funnel.
I'm going to share a screen because Maria just made a great point that we should show you the home page. So when I sign in, I'm signing in from PowerApps.com. If I'm in the web browser.
Yeah, so another great way to browse all of the apps here. Here, if you keep scrolling, we have a list of all of our sample apps. We also have connected sample apps here. And these, as soon as you fire them up, let's see, we're going to choose to customize it. And here we could see that it's connected through Office. And so what's happening is that
You'll have to sign into your account.
Right. So right away, it's going to take all of your Office contacts that are already there.
Yep.
And then it's going to plug that into that Excel sheet. So it's even more customized right off the bat.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think I've even tried that one.
It's amazing.
That one might be recent for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great thing. So it actually recognizes your own profile store and your contacts.
Right.
I can't log in because I'll have to do a 2-factor.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
of course.
that's a great thing to do.
And then if you also just want to, let's see, let's open the details for this. Say I just want to check out an app before I actually commit to editing it. You can also hit the preview button, and then you'll be able to play around with what the template app actually looks like as a finished product before you decide to kind of, take it into your editor and make it your own.
Yes, and that's recent, right? The ability to preview the templates. I really think that's super awesome too, because I don't want to have a whole bunch of junk in my OneDrive that I don't want to use. So I want to give it a try first.
Yeah.
If it meets my business need, then let's commit and let's click customize.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and it's also
That's
one less
awesome
step
tip.
between, having to customize it, waiting for all of that to load, and then pressing play just to see if you want to use it.
Yes, very good point. Thank you for pushing that out. That's a great and so just Elizabeth, we wanted to point out to everybody, not just Elizabeth, the wealth of stuff on this homepage is wonderful. You have all your apps, you have the guided learning, quick access to that. Soon you have something even nicer there. I'm not going to tell you everything, but there's something coming soon that you're going to love. And then there's also all this interesting data around different data sources. And so sample apps, like she explained. And it's really a wealth of things to help you learn, help you practice, and also help you deliver quickly. So that, you know, I'm looking at the chat, so that when you want to deliver something, you don't have to be slowed down by your own learning curve. You can still deliver something awesome. So I wanted to make sure you got a chance to see that and kind of experience it. And those of you that haven't tried it out, tell your friends about this video and send them over here. Let them look at what we've shared today. Help them meet Marie too. If you're interested in developing or working at Microsoft, hey, come share the joy. Darshan just posted recently a blog that we are hiring. So if there's interest out there, reach out, because we are looking for great talent that's passionate about good solutions for the business. All right. Any more questions? Elizabeth, I love all your comments. Mostly it doesn't bring in all my fields in the order I created.
Talking about the SharePoint mismatch and how we don't actually support all the SharePoint artifacts. That's what she's talking about.
Okay, Elizabeth, we need to talk, right? So maybe you reach out to me at audrie@microsoft.com. Let's talk, because we want to get you included in our user panel, because we want to get all your feedback on this. We just to let you know, we just did a video yesterday with kind of like a training exercise yesterday with some tips on how to get the fields to show up in the order that you want them to show up. We did talk a little bit about that internally. We haven't produced anything for you yet, but we want to get your feedback. And if you have these also should be posted in our ideas forum, which I personally am always looking through for important feedback like that. So Audrie@Microsoft.com. Don't hesitate to use my email address. Understand that it may take more than 20 minutes for me to respond. But Audrie is spelled not like Hepburn, but Audrie. All right, reach out to me, Elizabeth, or anybody else who wants to give feedback. We really want to make that integrated experience on SharePoint the best optimal experience you can enjoy. Anybody else? Elizabeth, thank you so much. Sandy, thank you so much. Brian, I hear your yays. You're doing it. Thank you. Share this video with others if you can. Like it, tweet it, share it. We really want people to know about these shortcuts, and we want people to recognize how much work is going on behind the scenes to make it easier. We are hearing you, and we're working hard to make it easier. Right, Maria?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Any more questions? If not, we probably can stop here, or I can give you some other demo you might like.
Why don't we hold that for a different day?
Okay.
And what we'll do is we're going to go out. We have the Data Insight Summit. I know all of us have actually got deliverables against it. And we'll go out and get our demos ready for that for you guys.
Okay.
And all of that stuff's going to be put on streaming content as well. So
Gordon, like in Flash, Elizabeth.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Again, what's Audrey's last name again, Chad? It says Gordon. There you go, like Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
All right, kids. You guys have a great day, and thank you very much for joining us.
All right.
We
bye-bye.
are